What's going on, everybody? Good to see you again. Welcome back to another Thanksgiving edition, or should I say, another episode, Thanksgiving edition of Just Talking Ball. I'm your host, Texas Jayhawk, and of course, I got my boy Eric Foster in the building. What's going on, E?
You know, just
Better week, huh?
get war ready. I had my eye paint on. I said that might have been too much.
It's tomorrow. It's Thanksgiving, and we should be with family, but we love talking ball, so we're gonna squeeze a little bit of time in here to talk about ball before things really get kicked up. But man, jumping right into it as the carousel goes, and let's just talk about the agenda real quick. But we're going to talk about the coaches carousel. Of course, I've got something I'm mad about, but not really. I've got my Cowboy stuff on today. We'll get into that a little bit. But then we go back to recapping the Kansas Iowa State game, and we'll preview Utah, which is a do or die situation for both teams in different directions, but definitely do or die situations. Recap Texas, Arkansas, and then get ready for the Lone Star Shootout. And we're gonna have a special guest joining us on there. If we can hit the right time, we're gonna let him and E go back. He's a Texas A&M guy. And then we'll talk about the games to watch and our predictions. So, I mean, right off the bat, newest, or should I say latest, or the first one of this week was Eric Morris. Eric Morris from North Texas, new head coach at Oklahoma State. He's a Texas Tech guy. He is known for developing quarterbacks, being a great offensive mind. I think he recruited Mahomes, if I'm not mistaken. Just
Coaching.
some of the
I don't know if he
yeah,
recruited.
just some of the things that I've been hearing about him. But I mean, I've heard about him. I mean, even when he was a player, so good for Oklahoma State. It's some fresh blood, but it's still within that wheelhouse of how Oklahoma State looks identity wise, as far as spreading, going fast, tempo, and that's everywhere. But I mean, I think that's a good fit. That's a good fit. Anything you got to add about Eric Morris? Yeah.
I know it's some folks disappointed because some other programs had their eye on him, and he saw something he liked.
I mean, great year in Denton, great year in North Texas. I mean, they're if I'm not mistaken,
it sounds like he opted for the job maybe with the least amount of pressure, but kind of the same upside, as like a Arkansas. No, not as much pressure, but the ceiling is both programs would be over the moon with 10 wins.
Yeah, and so and especially after being 1-10 this year. I mean,
and in the mid-12 is the path of least resistance for sure.
Just call it the Big 12. Just call it the Big 12 because you know what? Next week this could be a whole different conversation mood-wise, homie.
I'll be fine.
Oh, because you already you'll be in basketball season then. It won't even matter.
Well, shout out to the girls. Put a whooping on number 3 UCLA today. Shout out Roy. First half held your girl Kiki Rice scoreless. I know you love that.
I love that. You saw my face. I think UCLA is fraud anyway.
Really damn good though. She had 18 in the second half. So.
Golly, I didn't know they played today. I'm definitely gonna try to go rewatch that game. Oh, and then the next one is Jim Moore to Colorado State. That's more something I thought you'd be like, yeah.
I'm underwhelmed for sure. But again, when you are at a program like a Colorado State, it's one of those you got to bring your own juice. You know what I mean? You talk about those games, you talk about those scenarios where coaches always preach, bring your own juice, bring your own juice. Colorado State, they're not a rabid fan base. They don't, have any access to large amounts of NIL cash. So it's, what can we do to get people talking about us? And Jim Moore, just because we recognize his name, we talked about it. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have.
Yeah. I mean, it's news, and that's just the time of year, And there were 2 other rumors. You and I talked about off camera. Arkansas, South Florida coach Alex Golish, possibility, and another one, Marshall Faulk to Southern. Was the other one I heard. Didn't know if it was official, but I didn't want to put it up here, but that's the rumor. But that'd be great for Southern.
Again,
definitely.
bringing your own juice, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, Southern Grambling, I mean, we're not talking about halftime shows, but I mean, traditionally in the HBCUs and the SWAC, they're pretty well known. I mean, it's
Everybody's trying to capture the Deion Sanders lightning,
yeah, yeah.
and I just don't think there are many people on this planet that exist that can do that.
No, no doubt, no doubt.
Where because he's been what's the SAT word of the week, gregarious,
There
right?
you go. There you go.
His whole life. So
Mhm,
he's been this big media magnet his whole life. I think other coaches, while they may, Marshall Falk has a name and a career and a bio all to his own that is worthy,
mhm.
but he's not a media magnet because he
Yeah,
shied away for he didn't want it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
most players don't want it when they're
yeah,
playing.
yeah.
It'll take. I think this crop of guys that are getting out, that are starting to retire and have retired recently, if they get into coaching as we're just now starting to get this first crop of guys that really kind of grew up playing in a social media age.
Mhm,
I think those are the guys that may be able to get a similar kind of traction to like what a Deion Sanders had, but
mhm.
I still don't think it'll ever
No.
be.
And that's a good point. And I'm going to bring that back up in a whole minute. And that's a great segue. In fact, you know what? That is perfect to put to our what are you mad about? And I'm gonna tell you right now what I'm mad. I'm bothered. I'm annoyed. It's almost D-bag vibes. Do they still say D-bag? I don't know what the word is, but
I
Nick
think they
Siri,
just say it now.
yeah, yeah. Uh, the Philadelphia Eagles as a fan base because the Cowboys won, and when we lose, and I can't speak for every Cowboys fan, but when we lose, or when I take it, we hear it. I don't say, "Oh, it was this reason, it was that reason." There's reasons why we lost, but there's no excuses. But now,
You're
because
different. You're in a cut.
yeah,
You're in a league of your own with that because you were a former high level athlete. So
yeah, but
you never handled losing particularly well. Anyway, so
yeah,
you're just like, whatever, say what you want. I don't
yeah,
give a shit. I lost.
yeah.
You're right. The
But
average fan ain't doing what you're
oh
doing.
my God. Well, I don't need to be around them because enjoy your Super Bowl. Oh, this happened. No, let's say what it is. You are or supposedly be the best team in the NFL who gave up a 21 point lead and did it and looked bad doing it. And
Yeah.
so y'all got whipped by one of y'all division rivals, the most hated division rival. And instead of having a little class, which Philadelphia fans don't have any class, have a little class to say, no, we were terrible. We gave up one of the biggest leads, this and that. It's no, well, y'all bums are going to be at home in the playoffs. Probably because it's like a 10% chance that the Cowboys will make the playoffs. I'm a realist. I'm real about it. But you know what? Yeah, we split this season 1-1, but you know what? We didn't lose like y'all did. So, I mean, but an L's a L. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan through and through, and I'm not an Eagles fan. So I just don't think they handled that with any class. It is what everybody got their opinion. But anyway, what are you mad about? E? You mad about anything?
I want. I see a world, and may involve Texas, may not, but I see a world where you have because this year more than ever, um, you do have Ohio State that's just through their play kind of shown themselves to be maybe a little ahead of the pack. They don't look unbeatable.
Mhm.
We're not talking about any of those teams of the past that they were it was a matter of time before they held up the trophy. Um, they're not that. Um, saying that to say this year probably more so than any time in recent memory, the playoffs are going to matter, and the way they're structured, I can't just look at it and bet the house on the outcomes
Mhm.
because it's enough in doubt that you play the game, and the games are going to be unpredictable. So saying that to say, I see this world where there's just not enough transparency in how the decisions are made, what criteria matters more than others. There's too much subjectivity in the room. I get the point.
Mhm.
To be fair to the committee, you need to let them have some leeway, because if team A and team B play each other in the beginning of the year, and that head to head should matter. But if team A and team B go in opposite directions, that should matter also. Um, but at the end of the day, if you're telling folks that a head to head doesn't carry the day, why are we playing that game?
Yeah.
Right? Because now you're getting, and I'm a big a Texas fan, go play anybody, anytime, anywhere guy as you can
Mhm.
be. But this is even making me
Mhm.
shift my
Yeah.
perspective
Yeah.
of what
The
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 hell do I
the
want?
pun
We're about
the
to go to a
punishment is yeah,
nine
the
game. We're
punishment's
about to
too
go to a
great.
9 game SEC schedule.
Uh-huh.
What the hell do I want to add a 10th
Yeah.
Power Four team, an elite Power Four team at that? What the hell do I want to add them to my schedule for?
Yeah.
There's no benefit.
Yeah. And I hate that people that have to do with the game, but really don't have to do with the game, have so much influence over the game.
Well, we would be saying the same thing, because what if we went? What's the alternative? You go get a bunch of coaches, or you go get a bunch of beat writers. Like, there is no. I understand that there is no perfect fix for this problem, other than to say this is the criteria. The criteria is ranked in this order, and even if you just put a small disclaimer at the end, unless dire circumstances,
Yeah.
right? I read contracts every day. There's a term in every single corporate contract called force majeure. That means if
Yeah.
something crazy happens, a tornado hit this building, you can't hold me to what we
Yeah.
just put on this paper. So if we have, this is the criteria, unless something catastrophic, you lose your coach, you lose your quarterback, you lose, we'll factor in those types of things. But otherwise, these are the things that matter so that teams can play and schedule, because what I'm telling you is going to happen. That number 10 team, which I think right now is who? Who's
On
that number 10 team right now?
I guess you might as well let's just segue as you go into it.
The number 10 team
Alabama,
now, the
Alabama,
number 10
Alabama.
team now is Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama will not be the 10th team when those final rankings come out.
Mm-hmm.
And that 10th team is, you, by not putting the criteria out there, and by folks not having some level of being able to truly say, if this, then that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is what happens in the NFL playoffs, what happens in the NBA playoffs, what happens in any elite sport. We know that if this, then that. So we got to be able to apply that standard, because it's not fair to the teams that get left out because they didn't know if this, then that. And it's not fair to the team that actually gets in at 10, because they're going to hear all this outside noise, and they're going to be forced thinking they've got to try to prove their worthiness or their existence to have gotten into this dance. So I'm really frustrated because there is no criteria
Yeah.
of if this, then that. Michigan jumps Tech, and it's so minor because, again, you win, and I think things take care of themselves. And if Michigan wins, it would take care of itself anyway. Then they would have naturally jumped Texas. But like Michigan jumping Texas, and it's just one spot, and it won't be the difference. I don't believe in getting in or out,
Mm-hmm.
but you're doing it for other reasons, because nothing happened this past week that warranted Michigan jumping Texas. Texas handled business against an SEC opponent. Michigan handled business against a Big Ten opponent. There was nothing drastic that happened that said, okay, this week Michigan is better than Texas. Because the only metric you have between the two teams is common opponent.
Yeah.
We both played Oklahoma with a different result.
Yeah.
So, it's just little stuff like that and they're doing it for the other reason, because they
And,
want to keep space, right, between
yeah.
certain teams, so that, and they're not being fair to Miami right now. They're putting other teams in between Miami and Notre Dame so that they don't have to have that conversation.
Well, y'all getting ready to have another common opponent.
And it'll also be a different result.
So
Wait,
you're
Michigan
saying
play A&M?
no, Michigan, Ohio State.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I need, needing Ohio State to win a game that they haven't won in, when's the last time they
I
won?
know.
2019?
I think it's
2019.
3. No, I
Or
thought it was
or
3
21?
or 4
Was it
years. Maybe
21?
21. Yeah, 3 or 4. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I agree. I like the idea of like
No,
having.
David, I think it's a big number.
You
It
think
might be
so?
19. I gotta check. Oh,
Yeah, but I do like the idea about the criteria and have it listed, and this is what it needs to be done, so everybody knows. So that's a great thought. And as you look for that, and as you talked about that, that just spins us right into the most recent college football playoff rankings. You kind of previewed it. I mean, no big jump or difference in the first five. For sure. At least the first nine, if you will, 9, 10. I
mhm.
mean, nothing's really surprising to me, and obviously my team is Kansas, so it's not really an issue for me to really study it that close. But just the overall landscape of it, I don't see any big, oh wow, or what. I mean, I think a lot will shake up this week. Now, if
Four.
just to say like the ranking, like just to say if A&M beats Texas, they'll probably stay the same. Georgia Tech, if Georgia beats Georgia Tech,
If
Georgia Tech
A&M,
what
sorry, say it again.
A&M beats Texas. I'm
Okay.
saying nothing will change, but if Georgia Tech
If
hadn't lost,
A&M
maybe
beats
like
Texas, nothing changes.
yeah, and I'm saying if and
That's
if
a
Georgia
problem.
if
That's a problem. I will
but what
begrudgingly.
I'm saying is because um Ohio State, Michigan, is that this week?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So if everybody does what they're supposed to, that's what I mean. It'll
But
stay the
no, that
same.
doesn't make sense. Who does Indiana play?
Oof, I don't know. Let's look. But I know Georgia plays Georgia Tech, and that would have been a better game if Georgia Tech didn't lay an egg last week.
But this is where I'm saying, like, okay, because now you've just set the precedent that both teams can win and you can still reorder the rankings, right? So you've opened that door that
Well,
that's
I'm
a
no, no.
thing.
I'm saying if everybody wins, nothing changes. That's what I'm saying.
It should change though. That's what I'm saying. I'm begrudgingly arguing on behalf of the Aggies. If they beat number 16 Texas on the road
Uh
and Indiana plays Bethune Cookman
huh.
and wins, I
Now,
know that I know the strength of schedule, strength of record.
yeah,
I know all of those things
yeah,
are ahead. I know more ranked wins. I know all of those things are in Aggie's favor. Why wouldn't they jump to number two?
it's a possibility. So you're saying if Indiana beats Purdue 51-3, and then A&M, for the sake of argument, beats Texas 21-19, what happens?
A&M should still move up because
Okay.
that's a tougher win.
Yeah,
Like
I
even
100
that
100% agree with that.
and
I,
again, I think that's why we've created this world where and you've got people in the room that don't know what they're looking at always. This year, I think the one year they had Condoleezza Rice on, and just to have her, and I know she didn't know what the fuck she was looking at. And this year it's not the woman. I think they got like a sports writer on there because the woman this year is Carla Williams, and she's the AD of Virginia, so she knows what she's looking at. I'm not worried. It's not a woman thing. It's a
yeah,
what are your
yeah,
qualifications to come to this very important job? So I say that when you have people in that room that don't know what they're looking at, they're going to be enamored with, oh, Notre Dame beat whoever they just beat 70-10. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
they beat a bad team handedly. And I
yeah.
think there should be a cap on, you know, winning by 21, winning by 50 is really kind of the same. Because if you're beating somebody by 50, they weren't a good team, no way.
Yeah.
Like that, I've yet to see a ranked team, a truly ranked team, just get the doors blown off of them. So yeah, I do believe that regardless of the
Syracuse.
margin, yeah, I do believe that regardless of the margin, I think the tougher games win. As a matter, if I'm being deadly honest with you, Indiana should probably drop to 4 because that Georgia, if everybody wins, Georgia will have beat Georgia Tech, which is another ranked,
Yeah,
another
de-
CFP ranked
de-
opponent.
definitely better. They're ranked 22. Definitely better than Purdue. Yes, I agree.
So
Yeah,
all things being equal, we can be enamored, and I hate the spot that Indiana is in. Now they're running out of that room, that leg ray to that runway, because yes, in college football, your schedule is your schedule to an extent, but you are in control of your schedule now. You've been leaning on our schedule's our schedule. This will be the second year now. You probably get one more year as an excuse because you should have started in the process now. So if you don't have a 2027 high level opponent in the pipeline, that's your fault now. And you are choosing to play a shit schedule. And we have to decide, do those games matter or not? Because if they don't, let's quit playing them.
Yeah, because Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. That was your non-conference game. So
That's what's going to make
yeah,
me break my rule, because as much as I
yeah,
don't want to see the playoff expanded,
yeah.
like if you're telling me those non-con games don't matter, okay, boom, let's take it to 16. Let's take it to 16 teams, and we'll just play cupcakes,
Yeah.
or take it out of their control. The leagues need to get together and round robin it. Big Ten versus the SEC this year, ACC versus the Big 12 this year, and mix them up every year. That is very doable for the essential game of college football, so that we can bring more balance to this. Because you know me and you know my rule. You tell me what the rules are,
Don't move the
and I'm
goalpost.
going to play by them. She gets a lot of grief for it. People have been talking shit about Kim Mulkey and LSU and how they schedule. They don't play a tough non-conference game that's within their control ever. Everyone they play is like the ACC, SEC challenge or what have you. And she blows out cupcakes and plays an SEC schedule really well and becomes a number one seed in the tournament. That's what's going to start happening in college
Yeah.
football. Is these ADs are going to say, because I said, okay, if they're telling us, and we got to see the final rankings because they're all over the place. They could very well, Texas could win, and they could say, well, we dropped you 7 for the loss. We gave you 6 back for the win. They could do that and argue it and, claim a precedent, what have you. But that's what's going to start happening in college football, because I've already looked at it and said, okay, we got the return game from Ohio State. We got the return game from Michigan because we already gave them their home slates. Next up is Notre Dame. Cancel that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cancel that. And
And
people are like, oh, it's going to cost you $1 million. You
yeah,
get $2 million for making the playoffs.
yeah.
I netted $1 million by putting myself in a better position to get to the playoff, because now I don't have an extra game. And like, oh, negative recruiting. What? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and I don't want to go into another discussion, but then, and I mean Notre Dame's gonna start coming under some fire, definitely about the maybe
And teams are, and that's
joining a conference, because that, like you say, that's the same thing. Now
that's
they're not gonna get
that's
those
the
games.
next thing. That's
Yeah,
the next thing, and
they're
they're
not
going
gonna
to
get
put
those
themselves
games.
in an opportunity. They're going
Yeah,
to put themselves in a position to get sabotaged,
yeah,
because if I looked at their schedule, Texas is on it. I believe BYU was on, not. It's a couple teams on here that are ranked that are on it. If they all of a sudden decide, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play. We're not going to play Notre Dame in 2027.
yeah,
They're not going to fill their schedule with quality games.
yeah.
And they're going to end up on the outside looking in and be forced to join a conference. Like, there's just no uniformity here, and that's what I'm mad about.
Yeah, well,
Let's
and that's
stand
all.
by.
Yeah,
Let's
well,
standardize this thing.
he already said he was mad about it, but yeah, we extended it to talk about the college football playoff. But and and that's it's an imperfect system, and it gives us something to talk
Just
about.
keep working
But
towards it. Like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
when we got the college football playoff, all right, it's an imperfect system. We're working towards fixing it. Where we are now, that's like America. We're not perfect. Hell, let's just make sure we're making progress and work towards fixing it. As long as we're doing that, I can kind of live with the shortcomings while they exist.
yeah. Well, until it hurts Texas.
That's going to be, you
I
know
know, I'm
what?
joking.
And
I'm
but
joking.
I
I'm
do think
joking.
that's what it takes. I think it's going to take an Alabama. It happened in Alabama last year. It's happening to Texas this year. Eventually, Greg Sankey is going to say, oh, okay, it's like getting draw forward in Uno.
Oh,
The first couple don't bother you, but that third, fourth, fifth, it starts to
yeah,
feel
personal.
intentional.
It's probably
So
personal for
then
sure.
when you start having a Greg Sankey say, you know what? I'm going to take my ball and go home. I'll figure out something else.
Yeah.
Right. Or God forbid the SEC and Big Ten get on the same page. Then the rest of college football is absolutely beholden to whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And you don't want to put people in that spot because, and just speaking for the other conferences, that's not fair to them.
Yeah.
It's not fair for the Big 12 or the ACC to have to be at the whim of two
Yeah.
men.
No, you're right, and I'm not going to go into it, but even like you talking about the round robin. Hell, now how are you going to factor in the group of five? Are they going to get a shot to even be a part of that? Because
No, but they're going to get a spot in. That's their part of the deal.
yeah,
You're going to
yeah,
get
I
the
got you.
shot anyway.
Yeah, I got
So
it. It stays the same for the group of five
it
as far
stays
as
the same
yeah,
for the group of
yeah,
five. You're going to get the
yeah.
shot anyway. So
One
fine.
day, one day we might just have a show and let's just come up with our own form of like what
Our
we
own
think.
idea and pitch
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
I'm down for a live. I'm down for a live pitch.
yeah, and just go for it. But so I'm gonna switch gears. I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I was gonna, I was trying to get my misery over first, but I'm gonna let Eric go first, and
Play that.
we're gonna DJ say DJs. And I'm gonna turn it up for you because it's feeling like it's been a while, but I'll let you have it.
No. Nice try. That's enough. I'm here playing on Friday. That's enough.
Good, thank you. I'm gonna let you have it today. I'm almost like Bill Self when he had that press conference after that loss to I don't know who's Kentucky, and he drank that water. He like, man, thought it was vodka. Boy. But yeah, so tell me, Arkansas, Texas came out, and I really, I wanted to mess with you so bad, and I thought because Arkansas looked decent at least for the first two drives. But tell me about it. You were at the game, so what did you
Um,
think about the horns?
there was, and I told you beforehand, I had worried if there was going to be some apathy
Mm-hmm.
in the stadium, and it kind of felt like it a little bit. We were there with the kids. I always look, we talk about it when you come to the game with me. I always look directly across at the student section. I can see how full it is and by what time it's full. And that's kind of where I gauge the rest of the crowd because they tend to take the cue from the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, kind of apathetic. Arkansas moved the ball really well the first couple of drives. But I think Texas equally being able to come up and respond with touchdowns really kind of got the crowd into it. I didn't feel like the crowd became a factor, like a true factor until the drive where Colin Simmons got the strip sack and Leon LaFau ran it in for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
It really just felt like a game we were going through the motions, and felt like Arkansas was doing what we thought they would do, which is play for a win that would define their season.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I just thought we responded. We were having fun. The Arch Manning touchdown reception.
Yeah.
First Texas quarterback since Sam Ellinger to throw, run, and receive a touchdown
Nice, nice.
in the same game. But this kid, man, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about how in the last 4 games, Arch Manning has absolutely become who he was unreasonably expected to be at the beginning of the year.
He's still young, man.
He's young.
Golly, he's
He's
still
gotten in the
young.
lab. Credit to the coaching staff, as hard as we are on them, we being me. I think it's important. The credit has to be just as loud as the criticism, and the way that they've gotten in this room and figured out how to coach this group and bring out the best in this group. Kyle Flood took a lot of arrows with the offensive line and how poorly they were playing and how poorly they were protecting the kid, rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
Through injuries, found a combination that worked. That new group did well everywhere but in Athens. And that's a thing. But and the receivers, when they can catch the ball and not fall down and not do these other things, you started to see flashes of what we thought this team could be. Now, time will tell. 48 hours from now,
Mm.
will define sort of what this season is and where we're headed next year. Like I said, I think if you win, you're going to defer to the staff because they've earned that. You lose, you probably start, because one thing Texas is never going to accept is not being the Joneses. They don't.
Yeah.
We never have in any sport ever. We women's soccer coach. She just won the SEC last year. They ran her off to go hire the women's soccer coach from UCLA who won a national
Yeah.
title,
It's
right?
crazy.
Like,
It's
so
crazy.
saying that to say Texas will never accept any sport being playing keeping up with the Joneses if they're not the Joneses. So, um, again, credit. We did what we were supposed to do. Defense getting porous all of a sudden, that's a concern. That's a flag. It's something we got to look at. But I think it's a new game. It's a new week. It's new motivations.
None needed. None needed.
None needed. You say that, and that is true. But boy, does it help. You
Oh,
know, it it
100%. Yeah,
it,
100%.
it helps. And shout out. I love that the A&M players just seem to lack media training. I love that because I know they saw that. One of the players, I think it was their linebacker, called Texas players some cowards because they stomped on their logo last year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and I think we're in this mascot war. They didn't let Bevo come to Kyle Field last year, so we're not letting Reveille come this year. Which I'm for, by the way.
It's like that big.
You make I don't give a damn. You make the rules, I'm gonna play by them. You
Yeah,
told me our mascot can't come, your mascot can't come.
that's
And we
real.
just have to accept that. And I think rivalries are built on pettiness.
Yeah.
They're built on good old fashioned hate. And
Nobody wants to repeat of the Sugar Bowl what Bevo tried to do to Uga when he attacked the Georgia Bulldog.
and that was stupid anyway.
I
Like
know.
that's just general wildlife safety. Why would you put these two animals in close proximity to each other? That's the dumbest
Yeah.
thing on
And you're
earth.
not gonna stop him. You're not gonna stop Bevo. I don't care how old he is, how much he weighs. You're not gonna stop him from doing what
And
he's
he was
attempting to
young
do.
at that time. He was
Yeah.
brand. I think that was his first year. Like he was brand new. He was like 3 years old at the
Yeah.
time.
Too
Like he
too
was a
loud.
baby.
Too loud around here. I see food on the ground. Oh my gosh. But
Like, would you in real life, you would never let your dog walk up to a wild longhorn. You just
exactly.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just because they
But
got sweaters on, don't make it no better.
well, I'm excited, obviously, because I'm gonna be in the stands with you Friday. The weather forecast looks decent, tolerable, So and ladies and gentlemen, he's only letting me go because my record is impeccable. He's
It's
a
not
season.
impeccable, but
Oh,
we
the
did.
Kansas, the one loss is against Kansas, Rock Chalk. Anyway, um, it's that time of year
I'm
again.
grateful for that. I can be grateful for that win now because that win sent our programs in opposite directions.
Oh my
So
god! Oh my god! Anyway, the Lone Star Shootout this Friday, 6:30 kickoff. Texas A&M. Now it is going to be in Austin. Last year, obviously the return of it was in College Station, and
because
big
they
stake.
whined, because they whined, because they whined.
because big stakes was last year. Was the winner goes to the big SEC championship. This year, now it's like the seats have kind of flipped, even though Texas seat is a little, well, no, it's kind of flipped, but because A&M's the higher ranked team, but nevertheless, high stakes. I mean, pride, playoff implications, everything. Beating someone at their own place is a bunch of things. But before we get into it, I'm about to put these boys on the timeline. I have a friend coming in. You know what? All right, so yeah, just before we really get into Eric's analysis or his predictions of the Lone Star Shootout, I've brought a friend that's we've kind of been going back. It's a hometown guy, a buddy of mine. I've gotten to know real well, even though he went to the lesser high school across town in my hometown. I'm not gonna get into that. That's another rivalry we have to discuss. But today we've got a true and true Aggie that's gonna come on and battle Eric the Great. But I got my boy Donnie Mathis in the building. One of my Colleen buddies. What's going on, Donnie? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, guys.
There you go. There you go. I switched it for you. So you told me
Appreciate that.
you
You
didn't
keep
want to
that orange
separate it.
over there.
Yeah. In all fun, we're football guys and we love all this and we've talked about this, and especially for you two, previous to last year, this has been missing. This has been lacking. And, even me being a Texas kid, but a Kansas Jayhawk, I enjoy it. And I hated it when it went away. We're not going to get into how Texas ruined it when they went to the Longhorn Network and then A&M took their ball and went to the SEC. And then, but so I'm going to give you about 10 minutes, a 10-minute segment. And since Eric has always been here, I'm going to let Eric go first. And then I'm going to let I'm going to let Donnie get his way. Tell me, what do you feel about how Texas is gonna stick with, dominate, or what they got? What do they have to do to beat the number 3 Texas A&M Aggies?
I think I want to be fair here. I think that Texas A&M is a good team. So there's no version of this where I see we run them down or they run us down. I think it's a game that will matter in the fourth quarter. The outcome of the fourth quarter will determine the game, I believe. So that kind of pushes me to, like, what does Texas have to do? Yeah. Can't turn the ball over. Have to keep Arch upright, right? Hal is probably the second best defensive end in the country. Certainly second best defensive end in the SEC. So I think that, if you put Sunday guys on Sunday guys, those matchups, those mini matchups within the game are going to determine how well we perform. Can we catch? Can we play our game? We got to get Marcel Reed off balance. If we let him just stand back there and chunk it or pull the ball down and take off, that Friday's going to get real long, real fast. But on the flip side, if we can get him off his launch point, if we can move the pocket, shift shit around, we can get him to turn the ball over. And I think those are the kinds of things that change the game. What do I know? I know that within the first 2 plays of the game, we're going to throw a wide receiver screen, Ryan Wingo. I don't know how it's going to look. I know that. I know that the first 2 drives are going to be incredible offensively. Outside of that, I'll be honest about my team. I don't know shit. They have been up and down and inconsistent. I have no idea what to expect from the 3rd drive and beyond. I'm optimistic that Anthony Hill will play. So if that happens, I get less concerned about guys being in their gaps, everybody being where they're supposed to be. We cover the pass a hell of a lot better when he's on the field, because sideline to sideline, I don't think there's anybody better than him in the country right now. X's and O's, I mean, Elko hasn't done it a lot against high-level coaches enough to know and Donnie may have a different, honest guy, he may have a different opinion, but I know if the coach across the field from Steve Sarkisian is not named Kirby Smart, I like my chance, right? I don't know that Mike Elko has done it, and your schedule is your schedule. We were in that position last year where everybody talked about our schedule and how poor it was, even though it was supposed to be good coming in. This year was supposed to be the opposite. A&M was supposed to have a really good schedule. We were supposed to have another cupcake, and and it flipped, and it was a different game. So I won't knock them for that, but I do think that is worth mentioning that Texas by far is the most talented team A&M will have played this year. And what happens when those matchups become real?
Well, I'll tell you this, Donnie. I don't know all this. He was very diplomatic. He is a he is a realistic fan. I get a lot.
We're gonna win. No, I mean, like this isn't a that's a soundbite moment. Like I think we're going to win. Well, yeah, we're going to do the things that we need to do, because I do think they can't block Colin Simmons. I do think that Pete Kwiatkowski, who's one of the best defensive coordinators in the country, has taken a lot of shit for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And so I think, when elite people start trying to remind us who they are, you generally get a good result. So I think, the things leading up to it, us being at home, Donnie hasn't been here since 2010, right?
Von Miller legacy game
is completely different. It's completely different, right? Than then he will remember it.
Yeah.
So it's a true home field. It's a true, I think we have the better athletes, not by much, but I think we have the better athletes. And it was different last year where I thought A&M had a true home field advantage, but I still think we had the better athletes. So we've got to see what that looks like when those two things come together, a home field advantage plus the better athletes. I'm excited. I was real iffy on if I was even going to go.
Yeah, he's made a decision this week. I made a decision this week.
I was real, only because I knew what a loss would do to my psyche. We don't need the headline "Man jumps off off the top of DKR." But I'm excited, and the more you look at it, the more things are balanced against. I think they've played a lesser schedule.
Okay.
Those things,
he's gonna go on. He's gonna go on and on. Donnie, tell me, with A&M being from besides everybody in Austin, A&M being the better team this year, A&M being the favorite. And I mean, I know the spread is only like 1.5 or 2 points. Because it's a rival, and a lot of that stuff is thrown out the window But me being objective and me not having a dog in either fight, I mean, I've gone to a lot of Texas games with Eric. I've been on the inside. I've been around there. A1. They are second to none when it comes to facilities, this and that. But I also do know A&M. I've got a history at A&M with friends and teammates and people and recruiting and things like that. And I told Eric, I've said it, like, A&M, I think it's their year. And so tell me, what do you feel that A&M has to do to go into DKR in a night game situation for where basically y'all hold y'all destiny in your own hands, because y'all are the number 3 team. This sends y'all obviously to the SEC championship and beyond possibly. So what do the Aggies have to do to bust the Longhorns in the hat? Oh, that's a neat little hat. I like that hat. I see what you did there with that hat. That's a clean hat.
That's for you, E. No, man. I think Eric was spot on a lot of his points. I will disagree with him that I think the best team A&M's played this year is Notre Dame. I don't think Texas could go into South Bend and beat Notre Dame.
I like it.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
As far as the schedule goes, I'm in the same boat. Like, we play who we play. The SEC puts them in front of us. Nobody thought Florida was going to be what they were going to be.
Agreed.
We thought they were going to be better. And with Missouri's quarterback going down, that kind of I know where you stand on Missouri.
Yeah,
David, so
anyway. Yeah.
So, it was at the beginning of the year, and LSU's the big one. Like, first off, you don't expect to go and boat race LSU in Death Valley. Mm-hmm. Nobody expects to do that ever.
Yeah.
And it just turned out to be that it was a down year for those guys on our schedule. But at the end of the day, we had to play who the SEC put in front of us.
No doubt.
So,
down.
Yeah. Hey, take advantage of it.
No doubt.
And he even alluded to it. It's a lot like the schedule Texas had last year. And that was my thing then. Like, they don't control who the SEC puts in front of them. You beat who they put in front of you, and then go on about your business. If you handle business, it don't matter who it is, right? So what I will say is, the A&M pass rush, I think, with Texas's offensive line struggling like they have this year, I think the A&M pass rush is a big key in this game. Mm-hmm. What I do think we'll see, and Eric also alluded to this, is I think we'll see a lot of quick game. They'll get it out of Arch's hand quick, because you don't want him dropping 5-step drops, those big drops, and giving those guys a chance. Also, you've got elite athletes on both sides of the ball.
Oh, yeah.
So get it to your athletes in space. So for me, the biggest thing for A&M is going to be tackling those elite guys in space, because there's been games. Arkansas is a prime example of that. Now, they're not Texas elite, let's be honest, but tackling those guys in space was something that we struggled with. Mm-hmm. So getting the guy on the ground, that's what I got me a little notes right here. Get the guy on the ground. I don't care how you do it. Yeah. Get him on the ground. Ryan Wingo, dude's a stud. You start looking at some of the other guys Texas has, and they need this much room and they're gone. So just get them on the ground. the other thing that I would say, and this is low hanging fruit, like just don't add to the Cabo fund. Like we add to that and add to that. Like Elko got an extension. They got enough money. They don't need enough, no more.
Yeah.
Like don't, no stupid penalties.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've struggled with this year is self-inflicted wounds. Turnovers, man, I got it right here. Texas is 29th in the nation in forced turnovers. A&M's 116.
Oof.
So the turnover battle is going to be big in this game. I think it comes, but all that being said, like for me, it's going to come down, at least in my theory, to special teams.
Well, don't kick it to number 21.
Hey, both ways, and
don't kick it to KC.
I know.
I will make you a deal, Donnie. Y'all don't. We won't kick it to Concepcion. We won't kick it to Niblet. I think we would both take that deal.
Hey, I don't care if you got to kick it 85 rows deep in the stands. Do not kick it to the guy that's averaging almost 25 yards.
Jesus Christ! I mean, who's watching film?
Yeah. So when it comes down to that, I would rather lose 10, 15 yards of field position and hang that thing high where he has no chance to return it. Coffin corner him.
Yeah.
Oklahoma tried that, and what happened? House.
Yeah.
So the other thing
with a clip not called, a bad block on the back not called, but
100%. But you got to expect that when you play Texas, and you're playing at their house. We ain't getting no calls. We know that.
I'm sure there were some misses in that bunch.
Oh man.
I'm curious, Donnie. Where do you think A&M has an advantage? We talked a lot where we think it's a draw. Mm-hmm. Where do you think A&M has an edge?
I think and you may disagree with this. I think it's with the offensive line. Okay. Our offensive line, and now
your offensive line versus our defensive line.
Correct. Okay. I mean, Colin Simmons is elite. Don't get me wrong. Like Colin Simmons is a dude, and I'm so mad that y'all got him. I really kind of wish we had. Don't get me wrong, but I think that our offense,
Beyonce, but
yeah. My wife won't see this, so I can agree.
Yeah.
But no, I think our offensive line has done such a really good job this year of keeping Marcel upright. If I'm correct, I think they've given up for the total for the year, it's 7 sacks on the year. And of those 7, I know 5 of them were when he tried to break the pocket and take off, and just it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think there's an advantage there to being able to. A&M wants to lean on you. They want to run the football. It's going to be tough sledding against Texas. It's gonna be hard, but I think as the game goes on, David, as a running back, those 2-3 yard carries start to become 5-6 yard carries. Mm-hmm. And then you bust one for 12 to 15. I really think that the A&M O-line against the Texas O-line, albeit a slight advantage, I do think the advantage there would go to the A&M offensive line. And I think overall the A&M playmakers versus the Texas secondary, I'm excited to see that matchup because Texas, I didn't expect Texas to give up the type of points they've given up the last 4 weeks. I just didn't see it coming, and
I tease, but Eric, talks about, and I've seen it, when you talk about, just the expectation, and sometimes it takes a while for people to realize that Texas is not, and he's kind of seeing it, even though they're still in a prime position. They're not who they thought they were. I mean, me and Eric, I remember we watched the Ohio State Texas game at this spot, and that was kind of the big build up, and it was kind of went back and forth, and all of a sudden the wheels kind of fell off. So I mean, we all know the situation. A lot of people don't recognize situations as far as new quarterback, new O line, whatever. They don't want to hear that, and I get that. That comes with the territory. But if I were to throw my 2 cents in, I would agree with Donnie because A&M has ran the ball better than Texas is. I'm going by numbers. You're not talked about numbers. I mean, this is Steve Sarkisian's lowest rushing offense in his head coaching career.
In his tenure.
So I will give that. I don't know. I don't watch Texas as closely, but talking about Colin Simmons, who I think is obviously agree, he's a freak. Yeah. But is he a every down rusher? Like, is he there on first and second downs where they're like running at him? I know he's a pass rush specialist.
Yeah,
I know he's hard to block in that situation. But if I'm A&M, I'm double teaming and running right at him to wear him down. First, second quarter, yeah, he's probably going to get around, out quick you.
He's going to make plays regardless.
But if that O-line is as big as you say, and they've made strides, because both teams rely on a 1-2 punch. I mean, both have two running backs now. If I'm thinking about it, I don't know. I think who's you got? Owens. I know it's Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith's son's the other guy. But Owens, I think Owens.
And the freshman Jamarian Morrow out of St. Louis. That dude, So
y'all are similar in that, if Baxter is all the way healthy, I never know, if he's, obviously Wisner and, Eric knows her roster from 0 to 115 or whatever, but
as you should.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, and this would be good because I would like to see. I can't wait. I'll be at the game as well. With to see A&M in person. I know you're a big. What's his name? Correct me if I'm wrong. Regis, number 17, the
Big Al, man. Yeah, we love us some Albert.
Yeah. So I mean, there's different things, and there's going to be some guys, in my opinion. The star of this game is going to be somebody who's kind of hadn't been the star, or who's going to be, not that it could be Niblett. It could be,
what it's going to be. It's going to be who it was always supposed to be, and it never materialized. Because I think the one thing we haven't talked about is when you take out tackles for loss and you take out sacks, A&M is near the bottom in the SEC against the true run. Their D-line can be had.
Yeah, and you said that all year when we talked about A&M.
And I don't disagree with that. Yeah. I think they've struggled against the run.
I think at times. What we don't get to see as often, because Texas has been so many different things on offense this year. Every game, it feels like we had to be something different to win or put ourselves in the best position to win. I think this is the one game that going into it, it sets us up for where Steve Sarkisian can really get in his bag. If he can play action you, if he can quick game you, if he only has to take, 8 shots down the field this game, 5 of them are going to hit. 3 of them are probably going to be 7 or more, right? So when you can put this particular offense in that position, which we have not been able to do a whole lot this year, when you can put this offense
that's a pretty tall order to want to do it against the number 3 team in the nation.
Well, again, it's what they've done, and they have hidden that. It's anything, right? You always want to hide your weakness. How do you hide not being very good against the run?
Yeah.
Get up real big on folks so they don't run the ball on you.
And they have to throw it.
Mm-hmm. Get the sacks, get the tackles for loss that put them in a position where they have to throw it. So if you can run the ball 3.5 yards per carry or better,
got to be better than that.
Don't take the losses. No, but they don't. That's the thing. Yeah. That's what I'm saying about this particular Texas team. They really don't. Mm-hmm. What you have to avoid are the losses.
Yeah, agreed.
If I can
just not take 5, 10, 15-yard losses, that includes getting in our own fucking way of false starts, holding, all the things that we struggle with in our own right. And I think that's another hidden key to the game. The officials. I think both of us, and I've been saying this for years, or not for years, but the whole season. I'm curious if Donnie agrees. I think the biggest drawback to the SEC is the officiating. It is inconsistent.
It's atrocious
game to game. I watch teams that Texas isn't even playing in, and I'm like, oh my God, these officials are terrible. Yeah. And I think it's going to cost. I told you this 3 games ago, right? That I think the officials being as poor as they are, it's going to cost someone a game.
Well,
and I think Friday will be it.
I was gonna say, don't bring that mojo into.
I hope it's not. I hope it's not us.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say I agree wholeheartedly on the officiating. Like I feel like the officiating has been so inconsistent and been so bad. What I will say is that a lot of what people see when they see A&M struggling against the run. Like early on, UTSA busted a couple. If you go back and watch those, like where that run was initially supposed to go was just completely clogged up. That like they play it, the contain towards the outside is where they've struggled, not fitting those guys.
The overall gap in integrity, just overall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For me, what I think Texas really has to avoid is third and long. Third and long against a Mike Elko defense. He's gonna draw up these exotic blitzes, and he's gonna come get you. Like that. That's just what he does. I can't speak for all Aggie fans, but I know for me and most of my friends, like if we're within striking distance at halftime, like we feel pretty good because Elko's halftime adjustments have always been, pretty spot on. And we're excited to see what the adjustments are.
It was displayed very well a couple weeks ago
in South Carolina.
Yeah,
but we don't need to give nobody a 27-point lead.
No doubt. Well, you can't give.
I think that's a cautionary tale. And when you look at certain things that happen, and when you look on film as you build up, we've talked about it for years since he's been here. Sark is very much one of those, the football gods reward those that respect the game and do things the right way. You get up big, you play a certain way, right? A&M having had that particular type of comeback ability in their bag gives him sort of that internal permission
not to let up.
We will never take off the gas. Yeah. Don't give a damn what the time and score situation is. You never take your foot off the gas in this scenario. So if Texas can get up, I don't expect us to go into a shell, which we so often do, because you just start counting possessions at that point. And I think if we can avoid that.
What is it y'all say? All brakes and no gas.
All gas, no brakes. All gas, no brakes. Well,
I think Anthony Hill's a big one. If Anthony Hill can't go, he's the team's leading tackler. 2 interceptions like that. I mean, he's like Colin Simmons. He's just a dude, and he's going to make plays. If he can't go, and with Ty Anthony Smith out, as well for the first half, correct. I think that's a big advantage for
the run. That would make me worry about the run. But between you and the fence post, he could have played against Anthony Hill could have played against Arkansas.
Yeah,
it's a thumb break, right? Yeah, he could have played, but I think it was one of those. This kid is going to play on Sundays. You don't. You don't risk their health for that
100%. Yeah.
Well, I'll say
Friday you do.
Well, yeah,
Friday you do.
Y'all have been very civilized gentlemen about it. I thought this would be a little more.
This wasn't the time for it. The time for the lack of civility is next week. Come on and he's going to tell me it doesn't matter. We're going to the playoffs anyway. I'm going to say it does matter because you ain't.
Look, I'm just going to tell you, if any Aggie tells you that this game doesn't matter, I will personally call them a liar because we have not played for an SEC championship since we've been in the SEC. We hold our destiny in our hand.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like. Yes, the playoffs are great, and we're going to the playoffs. But I want that SEC championship. Like this is the team that can.
The spread is going to matter. This could be the difference in.
Well. And I got a note here, and I want to tell y'all one last little thing that I like. When I said special teams earlier, I didn't really dive into it, and I'm not going to do that because I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. So, there's been something that teams have seen in A&M's punts. We've had 2 blocked this year. Another couple came real damn close. Mm-hmm. So that scares me. But also when you start talking kicking game, our kicker is 11 of 18. On the year. He's 61%. He's 0 for 4 from 50 and beyond. So now Texas's kicker isn't a ton better, but he is better. And so if it comes down to the kick,
45 and in, I think
he's 1 for 5 or 1 for 4 from behind 50. Your kicker is, but I truly think if this thing comes down to field goals, I'm going to start praying. I'm going to grab me a rosary. I'm just scared. Like, I love Randy.
That if you told me if you asked me to rank, in order things that if it came down to this, how would you feel? And if I had to prioritize, special teams would probably crack my top 3 that I'm okay if the game rests on that.
Yeah, y'all have the advantage.
Yeah, that's why. you got to know well. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah, y'all got the advantage. No doubt.
Well, I'll tell you this. Where you going to be? Where are you sitting Friday?
Oh, we're on the sidelines, big dog.
Oh, man.
Hey, no. Don't ask me how. My wife just said, "Hey, you want to go to the game?" I said, "Yeah, sure." Wow. She said, "Hey, we got so-and-so got us these passes." And I was like, nice. I'm in.
Well, it's gonna be crowded. The who's.
Oh yeah,
that's gonna be a big game. Nice. Well, we'll be up what row 8, 25-yard line. Yeah, row 8.
Okay, not too far.
Yeah. If I scream loud enough,
y'all on the Texas side, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I think this will be the game of the year.
Yeah,
bar none. Up to this point, mind you. Like playoffs will get different and national championship, but I think up to this point,
let's not get carried away, Don. That was a leap.
You know, you know what? Because Texas can't hold the end.
Why this game for me, and I think Texas has a ton of micro advantages that could prove to be a big one. Because I have been where they are, where I bet you, Donnie, you probably haven't even been able to fully appreciate the greatness that has been this season because you're so busy worried about what
I knew he was going to bring this. He was going to bring this.
I was there. I'm telling you, this is
bad Aggie syndrome is a thing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
this isn't even a dig. This is empathy, where I know what it feels like to not even be able to fully appreciate the greatness that you're in the midst of because you're so worried about what is happening. Next year will be different. You'll expect it. All those things happen. But right now, so I'm saying that to say, all Texas needs to do is start to kick that door of doubt in just a little bit. And then, because these kids are not dumb. They know that Texas is not South Carolina. They know if they got down, just like I know, if we got down 27 against them, that shit's over. The game's over. And they know that. So if you can start to, whichever team plants the biggest seed of doubt first is probably going to be the one that wins. I say, and I just think it's a little bit harder to plant that seed for a team like Texas when you've got a 6-year guy at safety, albeit he has struggled his ass off in the last 3 or 4 games.
He has.
But you don't forget the success. You just don't forget it. You may harp a little too much on the negative, but you don't forget the success. You don't forget, Manny Muhammad doesn't forget that I had the game-sealing interception in a playoff game, right? You don't forget those things. So when you have a lot of those micro moments, they can pay off in a really big way. So I think whichever team can create that really big, okay, they hit me, we hit back, they hit me again. Whoever that team is, because I think we will punch and counter punch. Yeah. But I think that next big punch, I'll be really curious if that team is able to overcome it.
Well, I'll just tell you this, and then I'll shut up on this.
Oh, it's all good. Go ahead, man.
I was in Norman when we got beat 77-0.
Oof.
And I was in the stands the next week. Battered Aggie syndrome, be damned. Like I've been I was there at the bottom, and I'm going to enjoy this. I do think that this is a little bit different team, especially from the standpoint of, having been there, done that, like down to Notre Dame on the road this year and make the plays that you needed to play. But I do agree with you, Eric, that punch and counter punch, and eventually somebody's going to land a haymaker. And, and then it's going to be like, whoa, and so that's why I say, like, I truly feel like this will be the game of the year, because as much as these teams dislike each other, you know, nobody's going to lay down. So you get hit with a haymaker, they're going to come right back with another haymaker. And I will tell you, like, I got some stuff like Sark, his play calling and stuff, when he gets in his bag.
Well, nobody has a better opening script. Nobody has a better opening script.
No, God, no. Look right here.
Yeah.
It says Sark's screen game is elite. Like, you get him in a situation where he can be successful with that, and you're in trouble. But I think these are both two very mature teams at this point. It's the last game of the regular season, so everybody knows what they got, you know, at this point. And I think we just, you know, I really do feel like with it being, and maybe I'm blinded by the rivalry, but I think it's going to be a back and forth, and it's going to take a haymaker or a turnover, like we talked about earlier, late in the game, that's going to kind of flip this thing on its head. Would be my theory.
And I agree. And I'll give my last 2 cents, and we'll wrap this up. I really think it comes down to both of y'all quarterbacks. I think y'all both of the quarterbacks have, like, they can either, like, they can either fall apart or they can play out of their mind. And, you know, and there's been both times where I think they both played out of their mind when you didn't expect them to, and they've, like, tanked, and they've kind of struggled when you, like, well, damn, what's going on? I think overall by the team, I think A&M has done everything they're supposed to do, even overcoming some things. I still think Texas has something to prove in the sense of, okay, got beat by Ohio State. Okay, that's a different situation. But the Florida deal, you know, that still kind of hangs there, where nobody saw that happening, and Florida has struggled since, and that's a bad loss. Yeah. And so I think Texas, obviously, not because they're ranked lower, but you talk about psyche, you talk about championship moments and micro, you know, moments. But I still think in this season, Texas has more to prove, and they've got to convince themselves, because A&M's done everything they're supposed to do. And I, you know, like I say, I don't even know what would have been going on, or what Elko said in the locker room to, you know, overcome that. Because SEC, I'll give it to great teams. You know, South Carolina's not the worst team, but they wasn't the best. But still, when you got a 27,
they still got SEC dudes.
Yeah, and you got a 27-point lead with just 30 minutes to go, man. That's a tall order, and you know that was a big confidence builder for A&M. So
that's coaching malpractice. To be fair.
No.
I do think it is worth mentioning that Shane Beamer assisted in his own demise in that instance. And I think when you're a younger head coach and you've got things to prove, and you just haven't seen enough ball, you haven't seen enough shit go really, really bad, really, really fast, you do those kinds of things. We've seen enough shit go really, really bad, really, really fast. It just happened in Athens, right? So I don't expect Sark to, if it came down to, and I hope that it does, because again, it's a micro advantage for Texas. If both guys feel like they have, I don't think both guys feel like they have as much to prove in Mike Elko and Steve Sarkisian. You've got conference championships, you've played for them, back-to-back playoffs, like, and you have a guy that's trying to get there. That is the harder of the two. So you're the one I think would feel more inclined to take a risk, take a chance, make a coaching mistake than the other guy. We've already made him. I've seen Sark go for onside kicks in the worst situation possible. He's done that already, trying to climb the mountain. So if that is truly the case, and it is a dogfight, and it's going to be just one moment, whether it be a turnover or a bad coaching decision or a special teams play, all of those things, and the edge is paper fucking thin.
Yeah.
But all of them, I think, cut Texas's way. That's why I feel good about it.
Well, we could talk about it all night, Donnie. I'm not gonna hold you.
I want Donnie back next week. If it's my turn, I will take the arrows. But I do think the loser should have to sit here for 5 minutes uninterrupted and just take all the shit that is shoveled in their lap.
Come on. Hey, I will tell you, I have a bet with a former Texas player. His name is Femi. And Femi played in the Tom Herman era. And he anyway, we made a bet if A&M wins, he's got to wear my Albert Regis jersey and sing the Aggie War hymn.
Ooh.
If Texas wins, I have to wear one of his jerseys and I have to sing "I've Been Working on the Railroad," aka what's that song again? Something about Gabriel blowing a horn.
Talking about the eyes of Texas.
There you go. That's the one.
He's heard it enough. I know he knows the word.
Oh God!
But I will say there's one injury that I think that hasn't been talked about enough, like media wise, because everybody just kind of expects him not to play. But if Le'Veon Moss is a go, I think that is a huge plus for A&M. And I say that to say this, that I have 4 kids upstairs and they are currently watching the Pulse. They've been waiting on me. They just said, "Can we watch it without you?" I was like, "Yeah, go for it." Last week, dude was dressed out in practice, looked like full participant, the whole 9. So I feel like he's getting closer. And when they asked Elko about it, he's like, "We'll see."
Yeah.
So
what was he on the injury report tonight?
Same as Anthony Hill, questionable. Yeah. So
that's play. Anthony Hill's playing. I'm telling you that is, you call it insider news if you want. I'm telling you, he is going to play, and he is on no restriction whatsoever.
Yeah,
clubbing it up,
and that's gonna help because he gonna hit you upside the head with that fucking.
Well, I'm excited. I think I'll hit you up, and I don't know. I'm riding with Eric, and he likes to be stylishly right on time. He's not an early one to tailgate.
I'm from here. I've been doing.
Yeah, and
I'm in Georgetown East, so I'm familiar.
And I'll tell you, but if it's cold, I'm with him. Let's show up for the game. I'm gonna be ready.
Yeah.
I'm packing the beanies, gloves, everything.
Hey, let me just tell you, with the access I got, I'm gonna be the first in at 90 minutes before kickoff.
Hey, I would too. Live it up. Try to take a ball, whatever. I'm taking cleats, gloves, whatever. But Donnie, but Donnie, I appreciate you, man. If y'all want to do this next week, you're more than welcome to come back on, and y'all can have fun with this because y'all can probably talk about this all night, man. But I'm not gonna hold you, but I will holler at you, man, and we'll probably hopefully see each other tomorrow or 2 days from now. And
2 days, Friday. Let's meet up. Regardless, I'm not like after the game we'll meet up. Because especially after we put that belt to ass, I got to give Eric some shit in his own stadium.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Thank you for giving me what the people want to hear.
There's your soundbite.
There you go. Going to be on suicide watch, and I'm here to help.
I just need a little break.
The tallest buildings are downtown, huh?
I'm gonna tell them the tallest bridge.
Yeah, well,
Pennybacker, here I come.
And let me say, we do not condone any suicide or anything
like
that. We like to say, if you need help, we'll just
put the 1-800 number right there under me.
Fun competitiveness, but I will respect whoever may be watching out there. But Donnie, thanks again, man. We appreciate you having on. Next week we'll see. I can't wait to see who's gonna have that fun and get it. All right, Donnie, man. We holler at
Thanks
you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
I'll holler. All right, man. Bye. But yeah, man. So that was good. And it's funny enough, man. We'll see. And y'all, them boys went. You get an Aggie and the Longhorn in the room. If furniture ain't moving, they will.
I think it's a sign of the year and of the year they're having and where I think they are as a program that, some of the shit that he said that was outlandish that, would even been wild last year, national champion like that. That's crazy. A couple of things, but you pick up on that and you dig into that. But I think now there is for this year in this moment, pending the outcome, I think this is the first time that A&M as a program from Texas fans that I have been around for lifers. I think this is the first Aggie team in recent memory, definitely since we played, since 2000, where they genuinely have the forward-looking respect.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help but respect somebody to beat you.
Yeah.
But the forward-looking respect of, hey, this game could be what this game's going to be. But if you come in and you do what historically we've always done, I think it reverts back to you love your little brother, but they're
It's
your
the
little
little
brother.
brother. Well, we'll all be there. It's 6:30 now. All right, so we had a good time talking with those two guys, man. They're definitely pumped up and ready for this game, man. It'd be exciting. It kind of feel good to not have a dog in the fight. But speaking of the dog in the fight, let's talk about what happened in Ames. So we we didn't get the win. We lost 38-14, and it wasn't even close, and it wasn't even like it was. I don't want to say it wasn't competitive, but it took us too long to get off the bus. I mean, Iowa State came down and they ran it down our throats, and it was a fast start. I mean, and historically, this is the first time they beat us since 2021. I think we've handled Iowa State well, so that's why going into this game, I didn't really feel that it was just so, you know, impossible or out of reach for us to be able to get the job done. But when you start slow and you're letting these guys run for 240 plus yards on the ground and convert on almost 60% of third downs, and the quarterback Rocco Beck went 18-23 for 241 yards passing. That's almost 500 yards of total offense. You're not going to win games. Carson Hansen had 120 yards and two touchdowns or one touchdown, and he had 99 yards in the first half. So, I don't know. Jalen threw for 154 and one turnover. That's not going to get it. He only had on the ground. He had 25 rushing yards. Now he's not the main runner, and I don't like him taking a lot of hits. But it was a struggle from the beginning of the game. 17-0 at halftime. We had some things didn't go our way. We missed the field goal right here. You'll see, but then we had a turnover, had an interception by Kamara, but then it was called back because of a defensive penalty. So, early we couldn't get out of our own way on top of not being able to stop Iowa State, So, I mean, they exposed a lot of our weaknesses and they dominated. I don't even want to harp on the game. We lost, and it is what it is. You've got one game left in the season, and it's against a very good Utah team who has a lot to play for. The good news about that is that we also have a lot to play for, meaning bowl eligibility. We're 5-6 right now, and it's tough. It's senior day, if I'm not mistaken, in the booth. Playing at home is always an advantage, but there are a lot of underlying implications, if you will, for us. We have a must do. It's a must do. We've got I was playing as well. I'm sorry, Utah's playing as well as any team in the Big 12 right now. We're at 5-6. What we've got to do is get to 6-6, and we will be automatically placed in some type of bowl. I think 2 straight seasons of not being in the bowl. I think we got Eric back in the building. I think we got him back. Him and Donnie talked so much they had to go get some water. So I think let me see. I think we go.
My
But
allergies, man, my allergies.
no, but and I'm just gonna go down just a whole roadmap of not only why and what it will take to beat Utah, but what after the game, what the implications are, and how this affects us as a program overall. First of all, you go 2 seasons of not going to a bowl, and we talked about it before. Where you had program potential, now it's like programs peak, and now this doesn't happen. Now it's almost program regression. You know what I'm saying? And we look like we're waiting for something bad to happen. We're playing with low confidence. We don't have that edge. A player here and a player there, but overall as a team, we don't have an edge. We don't have a guy that you could tell us says, I want to go be a dog and I'll put the team on my back and do it. Obviously, everybody looks for Jalen to do it, but he needs help too as well. But going to play Utah, who's a very good team, and I'll keep saying it. But going back to the film and watching it, some things we've got to clean up. And just, ABC, we've got to do a better job of fitting the run. Iowa State ran for 220 yards in the run. Outside zone, duo, gap schemes, G schemes, the guard pulling just, by himself. We were late reacting. I don't know. We were waiting for the RPO. And then I thought Iowa State did a good job of balancing that. And they hit us with that just like they did teams before. But I say those runs because that's what Utah leans on. Utah leans on the duo and the power and the quarterback run game, a gap scheme. So we've definitely got to fit that up. We've got to play better fits. We've got to get downhill. We got to get downhill. We got to get in these guys' face. I don't think this is impossible, but I do like I said, I like that it's something to play for than just not like pride or I'm a competitor. You're actually playing for something. I've been on teams that Kansas where even if you win the last game, you're still going home and you're trying to tuck your jersey into the bag and take it home. But so I've been there. So these guys, have something to play for. And obviously Utah, they're playing for something as well. But third downs, we lost. Corners got out of phase on third down, or we were holding them. We were getting pass interference calls. I say Iowa State threw for a high percentage. I think they were like 66% on third downs. So they had a high conversion rate of that. We've got to keep the quarterback up, man. We've got to I've got notes down here. We've got protection issues. We were giving up. We were giving pressure. We're giving up pressure. We're giving up sacks on 4 and 5 man rushes. We've got to get it out his hands quicker. I know I say that, and obviously I'm not the coach. And these coaches are going to say, okay, we'll just press these guys. Well, you've got to find a way to switch the edge. Tempo, let's get some pre-snap motions. Let's stack the receivers. Let's get back to the exotics that Kansas has been known for. We've looking a little bland. We're kind of losing our identity in our offensive innovation, and everybody say, oh, that's the loss of, Andy Kolanecki. Well, no, because we were still running that stuff. And Coach Leipold knows that stuff. Those guys were together in Buffalo, and you can't coach that long together and not know it. You know what I'm saying? So we've got to get some of our innovation and some of our edge back offensively. RPO, like I say, quick game. Our tight ends growing has really risen up since the injury to Hanukkah. So I mean, Cole Ballard came in and threw a quarterback toss pass to him and scored, but we can't win and live off of gimmick plays. And and so I don't know, man. We win this game, we go to a bowl, it's fine. It kind of keeps us ahead above water, still knowing that there needs to be some improvement. There needs to be some changes. We lose this game, and you start looking at the culture, the development, the leadership, and then it's going to need some accountability has to be taken, So we've got to play aggressive, fast, man, loose, confident, We've got to be physical.
You lose this game, does Coach Leipold come into next year on the hot seat?
It's 2 years out of bowl. I don't think coming in. But if there's not a significant show of change in the
what
first
do you have at QB after JD6?
Well, we got Isaiah Marshall. Well, we got Isaiah Marshall, who is a similar type athlete, can run, probably is faster than him. He's been brought in on some of the quarterback run situations, and he comes in. So Cole Ballard played last year. So I mean, those guys will definitely be vying for the starting job. And Isaiah Marshall was actually in the conversation in the spring, but he got injured. So, but he's a little bigger than Jalen. So, excited for him. So, yeah.
So not a big drop off at the QB position.
Don't think so. I no, I don't think so. And not taking anything away from Jalen. I think we're able to build the same type of team we did 2 years ago because nobody saw those guys coming. You had Arnold, who's a DeSoto kid, number 2, good receiver. You had Skinner, big 6'5" receiver. Then you had the Grim Reaper, Luke Grimm, the slot kind of Wes Walker type. Then the Kansas all-time leading rusher and Devin Neal. So those guys, they just just kind of came together, and all of a sudden, like, God, they've got 3 good receivers. They've got a good running back. They got a quarterback. That makes the job a little easier for the quarterback. So I'll put it like this, and I'm going to wrap this on this because we lose and we go to 5-7. So now we've already had a kid flip on us recruiting wise. Kids start losing interest. There's the swagger, even though we've got this brand new stadium and all these new facilities, wins and losses still what it comes down to. We start downward. The trend starts to go downward. I talked about, potential peaking and now regression. So, that portal might not be that good to us, and that's not just trying to pull, but I might be also losing, kids as well, and just the typical. I like to take Nick Saban's line, the typical frustration because of the expectation that Lance Leipold did create here. He did create somewhat of an expectation now because even though Texas was rolling too, you had to look and say, damn, Kansas is pretty damn good. They're offensively, we won 9 games 2-3 years ago. Then came back, or first 2 years ago. Then when they got us to a bowl game in the Liberty Bowl against Arkansas, SEC team that we lost in triple overtime too. And then beat a good UNLV team with a former Texas coach, Brandon Marion. So they were doing legit good things. They were getting national attention. We've had game day there. We've had so he's created that expectation. But now we're starting to look at when I was playing there, when we were getting ready to play K-State, and rightfully so, they felt what they felt about us, and they would talk down. But somebody said they were interviewing a K-State guy and said, well, how do you feel about the Sunflower Showdown and all this and that? And the guy just said, oh, same old KU. And so, soundbite, we talk about it all the time. Well, our coach took it and put it on our off-season shirts. And we had that we had to wear that in all season. Same old KU. Now, our overall record did improve, but we still didn't beat K-State. So I say all that to say that, you got to just do more than talk about it. And you're going to start getting those negative birds back in there saying, okay, they were good for 2 years or whatever. Now it's back to the same OKU. So that's what I don't want to see from my team, my school, and my people. So, whatever it takes. I don't care if you run a trick play every drive, keep them off balance, do what you got to do, because K-State had them on the ropes last week, down by 10 with 3 minutes left, and Utah found a way to come back and beat their tail. So, I don't need to get into all this technical stuff. It's do or die for us in a sense of not just getting to a bowl, but program identity, national perspective, things like that, man. So I don't know, I don't know if you've watched much of us this year, but yeah,
bits and pieces just to kind of figure out what your mood was going to be and if I should text or not.
We've got to win. We can talk about some off-season stuff, because if we do lose at 11 o'clock on Friday, that's what we're gonna be talking about, and I'm gonna be in a real bad mood, But I do think it's doable. It's not like we're playing Ohio State, when to get in, type thing. Utah has shown some weaknesses. If you make them throw to beat you, they're not very good throwing the ball, but they will ground and pound you. But we've got to stay out of our own way and play clean ball. And that's not playing spectacular. That's just playing clean ball, penalty free, no stupid mistakes, not turning it over, sticking to the plan, making tackles in space, catching all these balls, protecting the quarterback taking care of the ball. Both running backs, has got to show up. We've losing Hanukkah, man. He was coming along. He was a big piece of our passing game, the tight end. So, we've got to have some receivers step up, and Emmanuel Henderson has done a hell of a job, man. This kid is a big play, home run threat at any moment, but we've got to be able to protect him. We've got to be able to get it to him. So 11 o'clock at the booth, senior day, win and get in. If not, go home or get in the portal. So it is what it is. It'd be hopefully not JD6's last game, because this kid is like he's been here forever, and he's got a great legacy there. Regardless of what people say about him, what he does, he's been a hell of a spark for us. He's been a fun kid to watch. He's been a good quarterback.
You're
for us.
generally remembered for the last thing you do.
Yeah, so we'll see. But I'm not going to harp on it. Quickly, because we've had a long show, which has been a good show. It's been a good show, but it's holiday time, and we've got some other obligations family-wise.
Yeah, we do. I got cooking to do.
Yeah, we both. I know. So let's talk about not that again. Jesus, let's talk about our game picks for this week. Just going into it. Last week was 5-2. Obviously, you see Eric went 10-0, but they were playing high school teams. That was so.
We can overall it, we can average it, we can however you want.
Well, you're gonna have more games to choose from, and trash. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it. Obviously, I'm still riding with my Jayhawks to beat Utah, even though it's
me too.
I know. Even though it's a pretty big spread, but nevertheless, I'm looking at Arizona State to beat Arizona, which is fine with me. I
TCU is not going to cover that 24.
I don't. Well, as long as they. Well, first of all, I'll get to that. Texas Tech is going to win big over West Virginia. Obviously, I'm picking. This is a hard one. Houston Baylor, man. I don't know, man. They're so up and down. Houston kind of lost some of their steam. Last couple games they were rolling pretty good, but I'm still riding with them. I don't know that's a wash, but I'm going with Houston. Yeah, Kansas State to beat Colorado. It's crazy. That's who they get for their last game. We got Utah, and Kansas and Kansas State are both 5-6 right now. It's crazy. It's crazy, and yeah. So in the matchups of the worst or the low, it's like we're down here in the pit, but hey, we're bowl eligible and you're not.
That makes it hard. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
it
thing.
does. It does. It no doubt. So, Iowa State to beat Oklahoma State, obviously. BYU, obviously that's no brain. Central Florida's been okay, but no. And then I'm gonna pick who is that?
TCU,
TCU
Cincinnati.
or Cincinnati. That was another hard one. I don't know, man. Those teams are so inconsistent, but I'm gonna go with it. It's been hard. The Big 12 has been rough on me, man. I don't know. Who you talk about your mini picks you got over there.
Give me Texas by 10.
Okay.
Give me. I told you Mississippi State. You put the thing on Ole Miss. I told you Mississippi State.
I thought you were joking.
No.
Okay, well,
Mississippi State.
we're both here. I made a mistake. He's picking Mississippi State over Ole Miss.
Give me Mississippi State. Georgia, big. I think they cover. I think Georgia. I think they just get Georgia Tech in a no mas situation. Give me Louisville. Give me South Carolina, which I think just sends fans frustration with Dabo and his inability to adapt to this portal world that college football has moved into. And I think they start to have conversations about, I know you don't want to, but it's no longer optional.
Yeah.
Which is crazy for, what has he got? Two national championships.
Yeah.
Untold ACC championships, but I think this heats it up because losing to your nothing burns bridges faster than losing to your rival.
No doubt.
Which is why I just want to note, when we flash back to the conversation with Donnie, the reason why this is the game of the year for them is because they don't beat us very often. They just don't. So when you have that type of chance where you are as good, or they may argue better than your rival, you've got to go win that game because you just don't get too many shots. So if Texas wins this game, I can tell you, and it is going to sound like a dig, but it is unintentional and it is not meant to be. This is the third most important game we've played this year. It is. It's not bigger than us going to Columbus. It's not bigger than us going to Athens. It's just not.
Yeah.
Right? Regardless of the outcome, we just don't view it that way. Texas fans don't and never will.
But I mean, yeah, and that's a little bit of your arrogance. And I say y'all, not just you. But I think the setup, because it's the Texas A&M game, and y'all are both highly ranked. I think it does, and one's having an undefeated season, so I think it does. And I think it's some validity to it this year.
You can ask 100 Texas fans to rank the games of this. It's not even bigger than Oklahoma was. It's not. It just isn't. One, because of the position we're in, where you are pretty well on the outside looking into the playoffs, barring complete chaos. So it doesn't really matter from that aspect. You don't really have a chance to affect the outcome of A&M season because they're still going to get an opportunity to go to the playoffs regardless. And if they go to the playoffs and win a national championship, yuck. That then the loss meant the win meant nothing.
Yeah.
Other than just to say you got it. But that was just the importance of rivalry. It is so far from the most important game of the year for us. We'll never view it that way. Give me Oklahoma narrowly. I don't think they cover. I think LSU just has one of those weird games that actually is probably going to piss their fan base off, where everybody starts to ask, where has this team been? It's hard to pick against Oklahoma at home.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't lose a whole lot. Give me Tennessee. I think if given the opportunity, I think Josh Heupel's going to put it on them. We talked about comments in the media and just the Pavia show that travels, and Tennessee being at home. I believe it's a night game. I could be wrong on that. I think they put it on them. Give me Missouri over Arkansas.
Blah.
Not by much, because I think Arkansas. Well, I know Arkansas can score the ball, and they just get defenses off balance, and all the things that most good defenses do well just don't really matter when you have an athlete like Green that at quarterback, when you've got a guy on the sideline in Bobby Petrino that can scheme them up with the best of them. I think they're going to put up points. I think their defense is just so bad that Pure won't have to do a whole lot to win the game. Give me Florida over Florida State. Again, just some hope for them going into the offseason. I don't know what they're going to do at head coach. I think Lane Kiffin is either going to LSU or staying at Ole Miss. And so I think this Florida's just desperate to find some hope somewhere. And I think those kids and that staff, even though it's lame duck staff, I think they pick up on that. So I think it gives everybody a chance to step up. And then I am picking Magic and Jordan Hare. I think Auburn inches out a win. We just know these are the kinds of games that Kalen DeBoer loses. If it was number 10 Alabama versus number 1 Georgia, I'd give me Alabama. But give me Alabama in a game against a rival that they should run down. He just doesn't perform well. And I don't know if it's a preparation thing. I don't know what it is when numbers start to tell a story about humans, and there are so many things that go into human interactions. But when numbers start to tell a story, I don't think we'll ever know why these kinds of games he struggles in. But he does. Highlighted game. Give me chaos, man. I'm rooting for chaos. Give me Kansas over Utah. Give me Mississippi State over Mississippi. Give me. I want to just put the committee in the most impossible position. Just because I like what's the clip in from Batman? Some people just want to see the world burn. I'm here for it.
Well,
because these are the problems. People remember why we got here, right? Yeah, why we've gone people over computers. People are supposed to be able to discern stuff like this. So if it's absolute and utter chaos, I'm genuinely curious where they go.
Well, if it goes the way you're saying, you would like to see it, it's going to be a unforgettable Thanksgiving football weekend.
I will tell you this. Nobody wants to see, I don't care who it is from, because I think it would be 5 plays 12, 6 plays 11, 7 plays 10. Nobody wants to see the Texas Longhorns come into their stadium in the first round of a playoff.
Oh, God.
Just saying.
Well, we'll see. Well, man, good show. Thick show. Love Donnie, man. Y'all were very similar. I don't know what I was expecting.
Next week will be absolute and utter different.
I wouldn't expect that.
I wouldn't expect any class from the winner.
Okay, Dan Lanning. Okay, you're gonna wait to see what happens first when you talk.
You give respect where it's due, and I think you respect your opponent until they give you a reason not to. If one of us,
y'all don't need a reason not to respect each other.
If one of us kicks the shit out of the other, there is no reason for him to get on this show and show the Longhorns any respect, because there is no reason for me to get on this show and give any to the Aggies. They are where they are because they played a soft ass schedule, and when they ran up on a real one, they got hit in the back of the head. That's the message. If
the round and found out now. Okay. Well, we'll see. Big gap, 11 o'clock. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about the state I'll be in at this game if we get boat raced at our own. I don't even want to talk about it. Anyway, I'll still ride for my boys. As always, rock chalk.
Praise the Lord and hook 'em horns.
All right, we see y'all next time. Happy holidays, happy Thanksgiving, however you celebrate it, however you label it. Y'all take care. Hey.
See y'all from Texas.